Hi.
Hiya! Welcome to a new episode of Easy English. 2 years ago, myself and Easy, we made a video about the differences between the UK and Germany, which you can watch somewhere over here. And now it's been 2 years later and you've been in the UK for a bit longer, so here are 10 more differences between Germany and the UK. So number one is actually one that you've noticed.
It is Brits wearing shorts with a temperature that in my eyes is not made for shorts. I actually made up a temperature. I observed for a long time now, and I think the shorts wearing temperature is 12 degrees.
Oh, for Brits to...
Yeah, when they start.
To crack
like 12
out shorts.
Upwards is short weather.
Because you have this jacket, which is like a big, long sleeping bag, and there'll be times where we'll walk past to this in the same day, 12 degrees.
A few weeks ago, it was, 11, 12 degrees. It was a sunny day, I give that. But I had still, we are by the sea, it's windy, I had my big sleeping bag on, the warmest jacket ever, even a hat and a scarf. And people were in shorts and t-shirts. It is incredible. I don't know if it's in your nature.
I am very aware that when the sun comes out, that is anyway that's the trigger point for the flip-flops to come on and shorts.
I'm freezing all the time. I have no idea how people don't have a cold all year long. Maybe because they do it. They're really hardened up.
It's hard as well because sometimes you look outside to see how cold it is and you look for other people, and Brits are the worst indicators for actual temperature because regardless of temperature, if the sun is out, shorts are on. So number two is a more serious topic than shorts, is actually the difference between the health service.
There are actually a lot of differences. I can maybe name just a few because I do think we should do a whole video about this. First difference, if you want an appointment in the UK, you have to call at 8 o'clock in the morning to get one for that day, and it has to be an emergency. While in Germany, it's a bit more relaxed and easier. Second difference is that you always go to your GP, your general practitioner, and they basically do everything. Sometimes refer you somewhere else, which will be a hospital then, though. So the specific doctors and hospitals. But you don't go to different practices, for example, to a GP, to an orthopedist, to a gynecologist or whatever. You go to one practice for literally everything.
And what happens if you call at 8:01?
Then you are the 30th person in the queue and you will not get an appointment.
Generally speaking, British healthcare is about mitigating your problems, whereas Germany is about preventing that problem from even happening.
Preventative care is very much not existent. It is a bit existent, but to a much smaller scale.
Yeah, in comparison, it's chalk and cheese. The difference between Germany's amount of paperwork that you must receive for everything and anything compared to the UK, which has become a bit more digitized, right?
Nearly completely digitized in the UK, right?
You'll only really receive spam in your letterbox nowadays. Everything else you probably have an app for, or you have like an online login. In Germany, you probably get 4 or 5 letters every day.
Even super official things in the UK that you have to sign or like confirm with a picture or anything, you can do digitally. Germany is on the way, but it's still a long way to go to be at the scale, I say it again, my word of the day, of UK's digitization, I would say.
So number 4 carries on from point number 3 and is the difference between payments in the UK versus Germany. I would say you would struggle to even get on a bus with paying money these days. Right?
You can, though, I think. Or do some buses say no?
In London, you might get told to politely F off. I think people don't carry much change in England anymore.
Yeah, the difference is huge because in Germany, you need cash for some certain stores. For example, little kiosks, bakeries. It came now with the corona pandemic. Now there is more, so it's also developing. Even bakeries sometimes now have card payment to not have the direct contact. But yeah, still. Ooh,
Oh God,
what's that?
we're being attacked by a German.
A Maybach. You should have cash on you because there will be points where you can only use cash. Germans love cash. Don't know why. It's dirty, innit?
Whereas it's the opposite in the UK. You will get rejected from trying to pay with cash.
No one wants cash.
And everything, really,
On the
you
phone.
can pay for on your phone. Halfway point, number 5, is the No, not the amazingness. There's a better word. The delight
The delight.
of British charity shops.
Oh, yes.
In Germany, I've seen many things which you'd call maybe a boutique or an antique or a vintage store. Mm-hmm. And the difference between that and a charity shop is quite big. Mm-hmm. Not only is the price difference going to be big, but also the background as to the shop and its full purpose. And a vintage store usually goes to the owners, but charity stores, as the name sort of says, the money goes to the charity of the store which is named at the front. Like you'll go to one called Mind, you go to like RSPCA or NSPCC
or
Oxfam,
yeah.
and any penny you spend in there will go directly to that charity. People are donating their clothes also for that charity, and people who work there are volunteering for that store.
There are second-hand stores and vintage stores in Germany, and very rarely they have the same concept. It's a complete different thing in the UK, and we love it.
Maybe in vintage stores you'll find clothes which will have a bit higher standard of quality, but you'll find some real hidden gems in British charity shops, right?
Yeah.
And you'll probably come out having rarely spent £10, whereas in a vintage store, you have to get your checkbook out. If you're enjoying this conversation that we're having, then we have this conversation on a bi-weekly basis in the form of the Easy English podcast. If you go to easyenglish.fm, you'll be able to listen to myself and Easy talk about the comparisons of Britain and Germany, but also just general British culture topics.
And you can become a member, a podcast member, and actually get an interactive transcript for every podcast, where you can translate the podcast into a variety of different languages and follow along in English, but also in your native language.
On top of that learning extra, we also offer the after show, which is the little bit after the main podcast finishes, where we'll discuss more Easy English-based topics and upcoming things that you'll be interested in concerning Easy English and myself and Easy. Okay, carrying on. Number 6 is the friendliness towards dogs. That's not to say that Germans hate dogs.
No. Pubs and restaurants, mostly, really 98%, I would say, allow dogs. 99 maybe even, allow dogs. If you don't allow dogs, you are kind of not competitive to other restaurants and pubs.
Most places will accommodate for a dog, and not only will they accommodate your dog and say, yeah, no worries, bring it in. Most places will even have little doggy bowls, especially pubs, and probably even have treats. And if not, the people who work there might even come out with parts of their menu and be like, can I feed your dog? Is that okay?
And in Germany, dogs are also very common, but there are more rules, I would say. There are more on the lead rules. Dogs are not allowed so often in restaurants and pubs. And it's a bit more strict, I would say.
So number 7 follows on a little bit from the dog point, which is England's openness to the public wandering its natural parks and fields. If you come to the UK, it's worth buying or looking online for these maps which show you not only roads, but you'll even find these little dotted lines which show you like set pathways that the public can go along.
This is, for me, incredible. I think it's such a freedom of like how you can enter nature.
That's not to say you can't do it in Germany. I suppose it would be considered prohibited, but people probably just do it anyway. But the problem is, sometimes you'll be walking along a pathway which is made not by people but by animals, like a sort of, like a little rabbit run. And then if it's been raining, then you're suddenly just stuck in this bog and your dog's covered in mud. And you're like, oh God, and you've got to turn back again. And then you know you're doing it illegally. But generally speaking, you can walk anywhere in England, really.
Generally speaking.
The difference between public toilets in the UK and Germany, specifically what I'm thinking of is the service stations on the motorway.
That you in Germany have to pay money.
Yeah, you have to pay to pee-pee. Yeah, whether it's these automatic service stations or a little bowl you must throw your remaining change into. In the UK, it's all free. It's probably best that you spend your money And it's very clean. That's a very big difference, actually.
There are public toilets. You can find them very often in the UK. At our beach is a public toilet. In our park is a That was Nola. In our park is a public toilet.
Relatively speaking, for a public toilet, they're quite clean. But the main thing is that they're free. It's often recommended with most places that you should probably spend some money in the service station that you're going to. Just, that's how they maintain it. But even in like the pubs around the UK, you should feel open to be able to go in there and use the toilet if you really desperately need to. Probably should also spend some money, buy a bag of crisps or buy a pint. Make the most of it. But it is okay to go into this public house and make your pee-pee.
I just wanted to say that.
I wanted to bring up a positive point for Germany because I feel like we've been punching down a bit.
Yeah, this episode is not so good.
But this is a big one. This is a big one.
For Germany.
This is one which the UK is really lacking.
Oh, yeah.
The bakeries. If you can even call them bakeries.
The German in me misses the good bread in the UK. First of all, there are not many. Mm-hmm. Most of them are chains. Mm-hmm. And they have nothing compared to German bread. There are some really good artisan bakeries, like a few only, maybe only in Brighton or London or bigger cities, that do good sourdough bread, maybe whole grain bread. But generally speaking, bakeries, first, not a thing that you can find often, and the bread is not as good. In Germany, you have bakeries everywhere, and you might have heard German bread is amazing.
Yeah, it's really overwhelming as a Brit to go into a German bakery because not only can you sit in there and enjoy a coffee in some of them, you walk into what is essentially like a library of bread. Everything has its own specific little name. In England, you have kind of white bread, brown bread, which could be toasted.
Toast is really the thing, isn't it?
The eclectic toasting of two slices of bread.
And toast is not to be called bread. Toast is toast. It's not bread.
You're the expert. And then after white bread or brown bread, you have maybe like a little roll, but it's also a white bread roll,
which is basically sometimes a bit like cardboard.
It's all very basic. And then we have like wraps and sausage rolls, and then you start going down the
sausage rolls plus point veggie for us, veggie sausage rolls for England though.
Number 10 is uses two phrases which you'll hear a lot when you talk about British culture. The stiff, I can't even say it. Stiff upper lip. And the phrase you'll see on every tote bag when you visit the tourism part of London, keep calm and carry on. People
in the UK are maybe a bit more chilled, more relaxed about things.
Maybe.
Not as dramatic and stressed.
Yeah.
But the disadvantage is that people never say if anything goes wrong.
Yeah.
We had this topic so often in our podcast. The directness and effectiveness is lacking there. People wouldn't say, hey, this is going wrong, we need to do this differently. People just don't say anything, turn around and leave.
Yeah, and the German alternative?
We name things.
Speak it out, right?
We speak it out, yeah. It's good. It's a good thing.
What is the German version of keep calm and carry on? Get angry and make a fuss?
No. Say how it is. And be better.
And pay for your mistakes. Positive and negative. Brits are kind of resolute and will just walk through hail and rain to get the job done, whilst also complaining about it. Let's get that right.
That's a good similarity. Germans and Brits like to complain.
But where there is space to correct things, like Germans might do, Brits will just sort of live through it and carry this weight on their shoulder, and that will be their purpose in life. Thanks for watching our second episode of comparing Britain to Germany. Maybe you can relate to some points. Even if you're from any other country, let us know in the comments below. And as always, we'll see you next time. Ta-ra! Can the outtakes only be how much I... Just you cleaning me. Oh, you have long hair here. More cleaning. Dirty British boy.